Katzcradul here. After viewing a couple of videos on YouTube today and reading a couple of blogs and that kind of thing, I just feel like there's something I need to comment on that you might not have thought of, or there might be something that you've been lured into that you probably don't need to be investing in. I am not opposed to people in the prepper community making money. Not in the least. If they've got a great product, if they've got a great cookbook using long-term food storage, if they've got a great gadget, I'm not opposed to that. I'm opposed to people trying to entice people into buying things that they don't need to buy, that are readily available for free. As many of you know, Prepper A and I are working at making Wonderbox patterns to get out to all of you who have indicated that you're interested in it. And that is no small task we're working on. I have gone out and bought the big rolls of brown paper so that I could bring home, and Prepper A can meticulously draw out the patterns on that paper. She's even going to have to handwrite the instructions of how to lay the pattern out right on the paper itself. Then cut those out with a pair of scissors as she sits and watches television or whatever she's doing, spending all that time cutting those out. I've bought mailers to mail those in. I've paid for photocopies for the instructions. I've paid for postage for those. I also will be making a video that will be available to you online, and even to people who haven't purchased the pattern, to see exactly how they're put together and made. My goal is not to make money on this. It's going to cost about $7.50 for us to get them out to you, but that's a pattern that you're going to have, and you can do anything you want with it. I encourage you to share it with your friends and family. Use our pattern to make copies of and cut more patterns. For heaven's sakes, you can even start a business selling those patterns yourself. I don't care. My goal is to get those in your hands so that you can make a Wonderbox and cook meals for your family and be able to use less fuel to do it if the times get tough and you have to do it. That is my whole plan in everything I do, to try to help you have what you need to be able to survive if you only had yourself to depend on. What I want to address today are those people who want to entice you to buy a list of those items they think you're going to need in a worst case scenario or a teotwawki event, those things that you're going to need to survive. That's what concerns me, is these people who are trying to get you to buy their lists. And those lists should be based on what your family uses, not what someone else is prescribing. However, I think there are some general supplies that most everyone should have. What I am recommending to you is that you certainly, first and foremost, do not pay for those lists. As I said, they're readily available. They're all different. I would go on and print several of those lists, put them in my preparedness notebook, and look over them and say, is item number 1 something my family could use? Am I storing it? If you are, good, move on to the next item. Sometimes you'll get to an item, I don't need baby food. I have no use for baby food. There's no children in my family. Might I store baby food if I was expecting my grandchildren to come? Maybe so. Might I store baby food if there was a baby next door and their parents weren't preparing? Perhaps. But you can look item by item at those lists and evaluate whether that's something you should store. Over the last couple of weeks, I've had someone send me a list of the 37 essential items that will fly off the store shelf, or rather a video promoting somebody who's selling what that list would be. If you paid close attention as I've been talking through this video, you will notice that I've actually shown you 21 pictures of the items that are on that list of 37. I'll post a link below so that you can go check out and see what the other items on that list are. I feel like personally I'm pretty prepared and that I have everything my family would need, but occasionally someone will mention something on one of those lists that I haven't previously considered, and I'm always appreciative of that, because I can go out and procure that item. I'm not saying you shouldn't look at those lists. I really think it's very wise to go through them item by item and evaluate if it's something you need, because obviously someone thought it was something that their family needed. You can make lists and lists and lists of things you need, and we certainly started out that way with long lists of things, and we've whittled it down pretty much now to where we have line by line checked off those things that we've needed, and our list is much shorter now. We have a goal list of things we want to accomplish and things we want to learn. We also have some big purchase items that are on a list that we save for. But as far as going and buying these lists from anyone, please, it's just simply not necessary. I'll post some links below of lists that I have looked at. Some of them are food lists. Some of them are supply lists. Some of them include things like dog food, animal feed, that kind of thing. Not necessarily people food, but other kind of food items you need to store. There is great value in looking at those and picking other people's brains and seeing what they've thought of that you haven't thought of. Start with the simple things first. One of the things I started with was salt. It was cheap and I could get a lot of it fairly inexpensively. Water is important to get, I would say, first, and then begin looking at the other things that would be nice to have. Maybe not what you would consider exactly essential, but the nice to haves. The whole point of this video is don't pay for something you can get for free. Really. I want you to be smart, and I want you to use the money that you have for prepping very wisely and not investing in something you don't need. I hope this all makes sense to you and that you'll consider it. Cat's Cradle.